Pick up right where we left off last week. We've got all of our panels that we're getting ready to make here in the 55. We've got a few of them made out of cardboard or paperboard back here in the back. We're going to go ahead and get those turned into some aluminum sheets. Material's supposed to be here today. The first thing that we're going to start with is actually this center panel right here. So you can see we have Zoots fastener tabs in here. We're going to knock those out. We're just going to rivet this panel in. There's no real reason to make it removable. If anything needs to happen under the car, we can do it from under the car. So we're just going to go ahead and rivet this guy in place here and not have to worry about it. You guys will remember, it's funny, I worked on this piece years ago. We tried to kick this project back off. Like I said, years ago, I was pretty young still and had even less experience than I do now. And this was my kind of first attempt at this. It didn't fit very well. It's too small. I didn't take into account the tabs, made it too big for the tabs, blah, 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 many things. So this is kind of my redemption panel, right? If I can make this panel and it fits good and looks good, I'll feel a lot better. So I have went ahead and made it into a cardboard template here. So you can see I made everything, got all the notches for the tubing, got notches for the drive shaft loop and all that. And I don't know if you guys do this, but I also made a few little notes on it, because the cardboard template was pretty close, but there was a few things that I needed to make a little better, make it a little wider in places, but I was comfortable enough with it to go ahead and put it onto some sheet metal. So I have already transferred that cardboard template onto this piece of aluminum here. This one's just going to be a little shorter. Turned out that this piece was just basically the extra width that I needed. I can go ahead, cut all this out, cut for the notches, get our height set, and we'll use our shear here to go ahead and get that top part put away. We'll use our guide, slide it up in here, get our line lined up here with the jaws of the shear. Pretty good right there. And we just press on this lever here. There we go. Now we're ready to take some hand snips and cut out some of these other pieces. And at that point, we'll be ready to see if I actually got my redemption panel after all these years. So after some back and forth, we got this trimmed up, but one thing I had forgot to take into account was the drive shaft tunnel covering everything here, and that actually needs to go under this panel because it goes back to that tube down here, and that's where it rests, caps up over those so we can slide it in. We got this in here. Dad's marking our panel on the back side of the loop, and then we can get that cut out. That should let us get this slide back in place, make sure everything's good, and we can go ahead and start making our pattern on this panel for our rivets and clecoes. Success! Got it trimmed up around the tunnel here. I actually got a few clecoes in it. You can see fits up really well. This drive shaft loop cover, Dad was talking about, we'll probably make another one that goes all the way down this side, but the gap there is good enough to do that, so we use this one for mock-up. Anything else we can always grind a little bit if we need to, but you can see that fits up really well. Got some clecos in a handful of places there. That panel is officially locked in. Now you guys will remember last time we started working on the firewall, the rear firewall. So I spoke about it, but basically the driver's compartment has to be closed off to the front and back, front firewall, rear firewall. So we started templates on that in our last video. And you can see those guys back there. It's actually 3 pieces, one here in the center and then 2 wedge shapes. We're gonna pull that center panel out and go ahead and start making it because we have enough material here to go ahead and get that one done. So just grab that one, start making. We took our template, right to the sheet metal again. Dad's gonna shear it. The side of that he sheared actually has a radius on it, but the shear keeps us from having to deal with such a big panel, so now all we've got to do is clip our edges, and that'll get that. Then we'll come over here to our brake, and we can put our bend in the bottom of it. We're actually going to turn that bend toward the back of the car, and we'll have to cut a little notch on them to clear the tubes that run down there, but it's going to work out pretty well, I think.
Okay.
All right. Ready?
Yep. Pretty good.
We started continuing, I should say, continued the firewall here. You can see we got our wedge panels fitted pretty well. It's not, they're not, this side over here hasn't been finished up yet. Dad has worked on the other side a bunch. So you can see kind of how those are going to end up being. What we'll end up doing here is coming on the tub and putting some L brackets like here, maybe here. I think that's what he has in mind, here and here. And then that'll give us a surface to lay against, and we can rivet this panel to the L bracket and keep it supported, and then the other rivets on the lower part of the windshield like we did the center panel. And you can see that right there. So this center panel, we got it really locked in yesterday. Got a little bit of a break here to get it to lay against these tubes. It lays really flat. Another little break here to get it laying against this bottom part of the windshield area. And I've got this really sealed up and looking good. These two panels will lap over that and get riveted in, so we kind of make one big piece here, and we'll have one big firewall. We did finally get our material this morning, so we should be able to get these big trunk panels done here fairly soon also. So I'm kind of going and doing the big rough-in part, and then Dad's going behind me and doing the fine-tuning and getting it to fit really well. So I may start on that while he's doing this. I don't know. We'll decide on how we're going to handle that here in a minute. But firewall is looking really good. So this is one of our trunk floor pieces. You can see that this is the area that's going to go back into the under the tail light, basically. So it's going to lay like this. Important piece because it's going to cover so much area kind of in one big piece. So we've got our template really good here. I'm really happy with how it fits. The only thing that we're going to do is right in here, starting here at this point of the paper, we're going to just add some material in here and make sure it just kind of flows and has a good angle instead of having this little dip that you see there. So we're going to get our big new piece of tin out, lay it out, and get this piece cut out. Alright, so basically what we've done here, we've got our both sides of the trunk floor laid out. Of course, we don't have any sort of unlimited budget, so we try and balance out scrap versus process to kind of make it as easy as we can. So we have these panels laid out. That is the driver's side. This is the passenger side. And we have it laid out so that the part that has the plastic film on it, so we can remove it, it'll be shiny and clean, is the top. So we have both of those laid out right now. So the reason we have them laid out like this, we can put this in the shear, do one straight line, and all we'll have to do is do a little trimming after that, but we can shear that in a straight line. Then we can lay it in here this direction, shear down this way. All we got to do is trim out these parts, and then even though this is not a straight line, it's on an angle, it's not a radius, so we can still put it in the shear and shear this in a straight line. And so all we'll have left as waste is this little section here, which we can still use for other things. and then these little bitty slivers right in here where we've trimmed that off. So it kind of balances the scrap process versus easy on our hands instead of having to use snips. There we go. Did exactly what we said there. Got 2 panels here. All we got to do is trim out these little extra pieces here, and we're ready to see how it fits. We have success. Dad just said, and I thought it was kind of funny, he said, just like with anything, a little seat time, we're getting a little better at this. This panel we got put in place, just a little bit of trimming we had to do, but in general the template got us extremely close, just a few little fit things. The templates can mess with you a little because the cardboard's a little flexible, so if it gets in there a little bit, especially in a spot that you can't really see, it looks like it's good, but maybe the piece of cardboard's kind of flipped down just a little, so you notice it really quickly whenever you get the aluminum in. But you can see here, we got one cleco here. This sheet and this sheet into this tube is what that cleco is into, and you can see fits against the tub really well, against the quarter really well, and fills this gap under the tail lights extremely well. I'm very happy with that. And then comes out here, and we'll have one more, probably, we haven't decided if it's gonna be one big one or multiple or 2 or 3 little ones. But anyway, then we'll have one piece here to fill that gap. It's gonna look really good. This covered up so much surface area in one go, basically right away. We have our sheet metal panels here. This is actually the entire trunk floor all out. So we've got all that mocked up, got it fitted, got it trimmed how we wanted it, and we finally got it lined up with the center panel. We ended up having to make some marks, get it located best we could, then bring it out here and drill it, because we already had holes in this center panel here, and we already had holes in the tube there, so we wanted to make sure that these got the same ones in it, so we didn't drill any extra holes. So we think we have all this really good now. We're gonna take this assembly and one piece at a time put it back in place, and then we'll show you guys kind of the final trunk floor minus the one little piece at the very back. We started working on the back filler panel here that's going to fill this gap right here. We worked on that for a long time, made one out of cardboard, made one out of sheet metal, proceeded to completely make it unusable, trying to make it fit. Trying to make it fit, that's what this guy is. There's a lot of bends, radiuses, panels, a lot of stuff going on with it, and we never got it to fit really how we wanted. And then Dad thought about it over the weekend while I was gone and decided, let's just make it out of 3 pieces. So what we're gonna do here, we have some more angle. Angle is our friend on this car. And basically this piece right here will go under the lip of the rear tail panel of the car. Stick out something like that, a little further on this side. And that'll give us a flat place to rivet the filler panels then. So basically you can see this one's made out of cardboard. It's gonna sit here, something like that. It's gonna be a little wider than that template, and then this will go like that. So we'll have a row of rivets here in the trunk panel, or in the tail panel. We'll have one row of rivets on this cardboard to the angle, and then a row of rivets up here in the top, fixing it to the floor. And then we're gonna take a piece of actual chromoly metal and just make a filler piece to go in this. This is important because this is what's actually locking the rear part of the car here to the chassis, and this is also where a parachute will be mounted whenever we get to that point. So it's important to kind of make this rigid and stiff, make sure it's good. So that's where we'll weld this piece of chromoly in here and get that sealed up that way. But we can at least use aluminum here on these panels, so it'll end up being 1, 2, end up being 4 panels. One piece of angle, filler panel, one piece of angle, filler panel, 4 pieces total. So we have the 2 angles made at this point. We got to do a little bit more fitting, some shrinking and stretching. Dad is actually cutting out the first filler panel here. We made it a little wider than the template. Get that cut, and we should be at the point to where we can start doing some kind of like final fitting. It's going to be some shrinking and stretching to make sure it matches those radiuses. I think with this, the way we're going to do it, it's going to look really good. It's going to be clean. It should be very functional. All right, so the iterations of the final filler panels back here in the back, I finally come to an end. So when I showed you guys the cardboard templates a minute ago, they were in a little different angle position than this right here, but we finally got it how we want it. Instead of trying to match this angle here, coming out here and then running down that, and then coming under this, we decided to come out, basically come out this way. When you do that, that lays that against the floor here, closes the gap up, but it doesn't make it to where you don't have this holding you down and it wasn't lining up and trying to bend this to meet radiuses and all that. So that was good. We got both of those out like that. So you get that break right there. And then that is clecoed into the big floor panels right here. So that is really rigid right there. And then if we go under the car, you can see we have L brackets right here that go into the bottom trunk area, the tail panel, and then also into those sloped positions, or those sloped pieces there, and that has everything sealed up, and we're really happy with it. So basically that has our entire floor sealed up within reason. There's going to be some areas that need seam sealer for sure, no problem. Then there's some areas like that guy right there. You can see this right here. That area is going to have to get sealed up. We think we can just take some aluminum bins and put in here and fill that, attach those maybe to the tubs. Not 100% sure, we haven't decided. But there's a couple places like that we have to work on still. But in general, the entire back of this car is finally sealed up with sheet metal. I know it's took us a while to get here. There was just a lot of thinking and there was just a lot of tedious work that goes into this one panel. I mean, like those two panels back there took us 2 days to just kind of figure out how to do it the best. There's a lot of tedious work when you're doing this, but let's check out everything that we've got accomplished with it. So we have our front panel here that is trimmed around for our drive shaft cover. So we got that guy in. You guys saw that panel a long time ago go in. We have a 3-piece firewall built that's got the entire driver's compartment sealed away from the trunk area. We have, there's those pieces, the back side of those pieces, how they're going to attach to the tubs. We got center panels here, that's all fitted. We got trunk floor on both sides and these filler panels. The trunk floors also go back into this area and seal up these radiuses back here on the back of the car. That's the same on both sides. And when you talk about it really fast like that, it sounds like we should have been done a lot faster. But like I said, just a ton of tedious kind of thinking and okay, where's this bin go? What's the best way to do it? Where's the best place to rivet? All of those things. So just an absolute ton of time has went into getting this done. And so that's why this is massively important. Why it was so important, because it's a big safety aspect. You can't run without it, first off. Second off, it's just a huge, big kind of milestone, getting all that sheet metal in and in place and kind of form fitted how we wanted. Big deal. Definitely not to be underestimated on the amount of time that was spent doing that. It took us a while. So we're very happy to have all of that sealed up at this point. All right, y'all, it's going to basically wrap us up on the 55 for right now. We appreciate you guys so much for watching. Everybody that watches each week, man, it's just a lot of fun doing this, and we really appreciate you guys. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you like this. If you're ready to see this car run, subscribe, and you won't miss a second of it. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook and all the places. We'll keep growing that stuff as well. And until next time, you guys will see some FE cylinder heads. See y'all next time.